Most people remember the first TV show or movie they watched. Teletubbies, Elmo, Barney, Curious George. But growing up I didn't have a TV, so I wasn't able to watch Teletubbies or Elmo. Hell, the first show I watched wasn't even a classic like Star Wars or Harry Potter. No, the first show I watched latched on to my 5-year-old brain and never ever left. And that show was Cowboy Bebop.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Cowboy Bebop aired on American televisions thanks to Adult Swim on September 2nd, 2001, just 2 days before I was born. At the time, nobody knew how influential it would become. Only decades later would people begin to love and appreciate Cowboy Bebop fully, crediting it for bringing anime to a Western audience. Similarly, I wouldn't know the influence Cowboy Bebop had on my life until 20 years later. So let's start with the basics. Cowboy Bebop is about a crew of bounty hunters in the year 2071. Spike, our main character, who is always calm and collected no matter the danger. Jet, the pilot of the old fishing ship called the Bebop, and home base to our protagonist. Faye Valentine, a girl who lost her memories and gambled away for money until she came across the crew. Ed, a strange little girl abandoned on a foreign planet. And a corgi that's very smart. Each one of these characters is unique and brings something interesting to the show. But there's one character that stuck with my younger self specifically, and that would be none other than the phlegmatic bounty hunter with a constant 40 BPM heart rate, Spike Spiegel. Spike is our main character throughout the show, portrayed as a calm, highly skilled martial artist and a very go-with-the-flow kind of guy. But that demeanor is a bit deceptive, because Spike has a very deep and upsetting past. Spike was a former member of the Red Dragon crime syndicate, where he met his partner in crime Vicious. During an unknown mission for the syndicate, Spike lost his eye and is implanted with an artificial one. Also, later during his time with the syndicate, he meets a girl named Julia, and it is implied that it was love at first sight. But it turns out, Vicious had his eye for Julia as well. But not only did they have the same lover, but both Spike and Vicious were equally capable of becoming the next leader of the syndicate. And so the rivalry began. Vicious was far more ruthless and ambitious to get his title, so he sent assassins to kill Spike. He survived and was saved by Julia, which is when they officially became lovers. Knowing Vicious would try again, Spike offered Julia to run away with him, and he would fake his death, and they would meet at the graveyard and run away from the syndicate. But Vicious discovered their plans and told Julia if she wanted to live, she would have to kill Spike, or Vicious would kill them both. So Julia, for the safety of Spike, ran away from both Vicious and Spike, and Spike was left alone, not knowing what happened. Spike has a lot of traits that we can learn from, and some that we can avoid, but I'm going to go over the 3 biggest traits that define Spike as a character, and how we can implement them in our lives to become better people. The first trait Spike constantly shows us is not taking himself too seriously. Spike is constantly in dangerous situations, fighting dangerous people, in dogfights, weapons pointed at him. But still he is able to joke around and be loose, and really show his humorous side. In this clip, we see he is mid-fight against someone with a gun, but he is still able to joke around by asking the girl on the date,
Tell me what you're doing here.
Let's flip a coin. Heads I tell you, tails we go out on a date.
This is something that Spike does often, and this is something we can implement in our lives so that we aren't so serious and tense all the time, which can help you stay relaxed in tough situations. The second trait, which can help with the first one, is one that Spike Spiegel brings up specifically in the show.
I'm telling you, don't tense up.
How am I gonna knock someone out if it's all limp?
It's not about strength or power. You gotta be fluid.
Huh?
You have to be like water. You see what I'm saying?
This idea is directly influenced from the philosophy of Bruce Lee, who Spike is based on. Bruce Lee famously says,
Be water, my friend.
what Bruce and Spike are trying to tell you by saying this is you should relax. Let your entire body be relaxed instead of tense, and this way you can react instantly without resistance.
Without thought.
Keeping your body relaxed does more than just let your body react without resistance. It will also calm your mind, which you should also allow to flow like water, so your mind can think fluidly and rationally. Too much these days we try to stifle thoughts we have because we don't like them, but that just creates resistance in our mind and drains our spirit. Instead, let your thoughts float naturally in your mind. I'm not saying never question them, but don't try and stop them either. Instead, let your mind think, and then you can fluidly direct your thoughts to where you want them to go. The final trait, which is vital to both traits I just mentioned, is arguably the most important, and it will serve to empower the other two traits. And that would be Spike's philosophy of Stoicism.
Whatever happens, happens.
Stoicism is the philosophy of accepting the hardships life throws at you without complaint or emotional outbursts. The idea is, if something is out of your control, there's no point in complaining about it. But if something is in your control, then control it. There's no need to have an emotional outburst, and instead, you should channel that energy into doing what you can. By doing this, by accepting the obstacles in our way, they become tools to our success. As Spike said,
You apply excessive force, and I control that force through fluid motion.
in a fight, Spike is almost never the bigger guy or the stronger guy. People will often use their strength to try and stand in his way. But by accepting that he isn't as strong or as big physically as his opponents, he then realizes he can use their strength against them. And this applies everywhere in life. Find a way to make an obstacle in your way a tool to your benefit. Instead of screaming or pounding your table, use that anger to focus on the task ahead. Use it to fuel your motivation, to push on, to find a way. At the end of the day, we are not what we say or what we feel, but what we do. And if we do as Spike has taught us, we can learn to be calm in every situation and move fluidly and smoothly through life. We learn to accept our hardships and turn them into blessings. And most importantly, by learning from Spike, we can learn to be ourselves.